Rama Rama Hare Jayom Vishnupada Paramahamsa Parivijakacharya Ashtottara Shata Shri Srimad Divine Grace of Vaishnava Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada Ki Jayom Vishnupada Paramahamsa Parivijakacharya Ashtottara Shata Shri Srimad Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Goswami Prabhupada Ki Ananta Koti Vaishnava Ki Gaur Premanande. All glories to Assembly devotees, all glories to Assembly devotees, all glories to Assembly. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Okay, so today is 8th of September. It's a Sunday and 2024. I just like to date the classes just in case someone hears it later. You wouldn't believe it. You wouldn't believe it. I lost my specs. I didn't lose them. I left it in my Sankirtan van, so I can't see anything. How am I going to read Bhagavatam? I was doing books yesterday and the day before yesterday, and I left my glass. I have 3 pairs. Would you believe it? I have 3 pairs, and I left all of them in different cars, making myself look so dumb. Okay, maybe what I can do is if I can bring this up on the mobile, I can pinch them out, right? That could be. God, I can't even see that. Anybody's got two number glasses? Is that 2 number? Okay, thank you. Struggling. Okay. Oh, this is much higher. No. Okay, reading? Okay, that will do. Very good. Thank you. That will do. No, that's long side. It's okay. I'll just pinch them out. Don't worry. Couldn't believe it, would you? I have other cards for the books. So everywhere I'm going, I leave that in those books vans. Okay, so we're doing 4th canto. And chapter 9 and 63. All right. Oh my God, life is hard, isn't it? Yeah, that's better. Okay. Let's do call and response. Udyanani charamyani Vichitrairamaradrumai Kujad Vihanga Mithunair Gayan Matta Madhuvratair Udyanani Charamyani Vichitrairamaradrumai Kujad Vihanga Mithunair Gayan Matha Madhuvrate. Okay, anybody wants to give it a shot? Please. Udyanani charamyani Vichitrairamaradrumai Kujad Vihanga Mithunai Gayan Matta Madhuvrate. Udyanani charamyani Vichitrairamaradrumai Kujad Vihanga Mithune Gayan Matta Madhuvrate. Very good. Okay, ladies. Good shot? Yeah, you can. Udyanani cha ramyani vichitrairamaradrumay kujad vihanga mitunair gayan matta madhuvrate. Okay. Udyanani cha ramyani vichitrairamaradrumay kujad vihanga mitunair gayan matta madhuvrate. Udyanani, gardens, cha, also, ramyani, very beautiful, vichitra, various, amaradrumay, trees brought from the heavenly planets. Now you must wonder, but there is no such thing as heaven in the Sanskrit. But why is Prabhupada translating that as heavenly planets? Because Amara, Mara is mortal. The word English word mortal, you can see Mara, mortal, Mrityu, immortal, Amrita, has its roots in Sanskrit. So why is Prabhupada translating Amara into heavenly planets? Is because the people there have very long time, significantly much longer, to the extent they can be called like having no death, comparable to the span of lives that we live. So that's why Amara. Druma is trees, and you will see in Shishtastakam Trinadapi Sunichena. So Tara in Sanskrit is tree, so another word in Sanskrit is Drumai, and you can see where the word English Tiri has come from when you see the Tara in Sanskrit. So, okay. Kujat, singing, vihanga, of birds. Because, see, when we read Sanskrit, we think because it's in Sanskrit, everything is like serious. But there's quite a bit of fun going on in Sanskrit. The word vihanga is something that hangs up from the sky. If you can, vihanga, the English word hanging, hanga, same word. So something living that hangs up from the sky away, V is away in English, same words. So the way they form a word, the word describe the act that the object does. The bird hangs up from the sky. So vihanga. There is a good humor because when we read Sanskrit, we go, look, everything is serious or something. It's not. They're very, very funny people. I'll tell you some other examples. For example, birds are also called khaga. You know why? Ka is sky. Ga in English goes, something that goes in the sky. Khaga. Mruga. Mru is earth. Ga is something goes on the earth, animal. And this is funny. Naga, no-go. No-goer. Tree is not going anywhere. And they also call padapas. Because pada is fruit, apa is drinking. Someone who drinks with their foot, which is the tree. Can you see? The language is formulated in a way it describes the activities of the object. So there's a lot of fun in Sanskrit. We don't need to be so serious in devotional service that we can have fun. And I had some Sanskrit background when I was doing my undergraduates and graduates. So when I started discovering, I thought these were very funny people. They had some humor in them. Very funny people, like Bhishma. Bhima is called Bhima is because he's very Vrakodara is because very voracious eater. So it's very funny and dry humor people. We don't have to be serious. We can have some fun. Mithunai with pairs. Gayat, humming. Matta, mad. You can see where mad came from. So Mata becomes Mada and Mada becomes mad. So there's actually a joke about Prabhupada. Someone said Paramata and he said Pramatta. They're extremely mad people. Paramatta. So extremely mad people or something. Anyway, I don't know where he said that, but it's quite funny. No offense to people coming from Parramatta. I was living in Parramatta myself, so don't take any offense of this. Madhuvrutai, with bumblebees. Even that comes into English, but I don't want to bore you to death. The vrita comes into English with word, like introvert, extrovert, subvert, convert, revert. So all these words come from this word vrata. So Madhuvrata with bumblebees. Anyway, let's see the translation. The king's residence was, okay, let's call and response. The king's residence was surrounded by gardens wherein there were varieties of trees brought from the heavenly planets. In those trees, there were pairs of sweetly singing birds and almost mad bumblebees, which made a very relishable buzzing sound. Okay, so we are at a place where we are. Sorry with about my glasses, and I'm scrolling and you're left behind. So we are at a point where Dhruva Maharaj has done his severe austerities. He's had an audience of Lord Vishnu, which is not trivial. And then he's coming back to his own house, his own residence. So Bhagavatam is giving a description of how his residence was. You might have heard this almost to a point of becoming a cliche. You understand cliches? Cliche is something that is overused, like hackneyed. Cliche is a word that has been overused so much that you become numb to it. It becomes numb. So cliche to the point of, so you may have, he's come back to his residence now. So what's the cliche that I was talking about? The cliche that I was talking about is, you may have heard of the senior Vaishnavas and devotees saying that every part of Bhagavatam is filled with Krishna's love. Right? Have you heard this? How many times? Trillion times? About 1,000,001 time today. I said that also. Okay. So 1,000,001 now. Now, but there are verses in Bhagavatam where there's Manu has this son, and there's Andhakas, and there's Andhakas, and there's Vishnus, and there's thousands and hundreds of clans, and these are going after and after the Manus and their sons and the dynasties, and in the 8th cantos and the 9th canto, and even a little bit in the 5th canto and a little bit in the 4th canto. So how do you make sense? How is that flowing with Krishna Prem? Because usually from our point of view, like Tava Kathamritam, Tapta Jivanam, Kavibhiriritam, Kalmasapam. So this is Krishna Gita, right? This is Gopi Gita. This is full of love for us. But these verses where there is like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of Manu's sons and daughters, and Devahuti had another 8 sisters and their sons, and Kashyapa had 61 sons, 61,000 sons. And how are these full of Krishna Katha? Where is love of Krishna oozing and infusing from there? Why am I bringing this all up? To bore you to death? No. For example, in this case, it is describing about Dhruva Maharaja's palace. How does that infuse with Krishna's love? How should that infuse you with Krishna's love? How should that, like reading about hundreds and hundreds of Manu's clans, and the Sun dynasty has hundreds and hundreds of lines, and then the Moon dynasty starts in the 9th canto, and then keeps going on and on. How are these infusing you with Krishna's love? How do you put this together? How do you do that? This is not Gopi Geet. This is not talking about Brahmara Geet, where Radharani was going mad because that Brahmara is, the song of Brahmara is like sounding like Krishna's flute, and practically another Gita. So that is rasa, right? You're reading Nectar of Devotion, that is rasa, right? But here you're just reading some clans of Manus, and you're reading some Sun dynasty, thousands and thousands of kings. And here you're just reading how the Dhruva Maharaja's palace is. How is this oozing with Krishna's love? Very good, that's very good. Fantastic point. That's very good. And the reason it's very good is because that's the line I wanted to come first, go to that clans, and then come to how this verse will ooze with Krishna's love. Because when you're reading these about these hundreds and hundreds of the kings in Sun dynasties and Moon dynasties and Manu's sons and daughters, and 5th Manu's 9th daughters, 11th sons, 12th grandson, 2nd stepmothers, 4th, grandson became a king. How is this oozing with Krishna's love? Is because every time you're reading that, every 10 or 12 verses, it definitely speaks about an incarnation of Krishna. So it shows how Krishna is always strategizing, scheming, planning in various times in this cyclical world, in these cyclical times of it, like almost eternal, to the point of Sahasra Yuga Paryantam Harya Brahmano Vidu. So 4 point some billion some years, right? Some 306, some ridiculous trillions years Brahma lives. It shows how Krishna is strategically lodging himself into, like, creating these spiritual bubbles, regardless of how downtrodden, how fallen down, how ridiculous a civilization becomes. Krishna is always scheming and lodging himself into this. In between, all of a sudden, he lodges himself as Yagna. He lodges himself as Dattatreya. He lodges himself as Kurma. He lodges himself as lion, because that's the only person that Hiranyakashipu would have heard. Do you see what I'm saying? So when you're reading this, all these clans of hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of kings of Sun dynasty, or you're reading these hundreds and hundreds of Moon's dynasty, what you will notice, why is that oozing with Krishna Katha, when you're just reading some names, is because every little interval that you will see that Krishna is strategically lodging himself to fit that particular dynasty, that particular times. And that becomes a Krishna Katha. And we see his love, how he is so consistently scheming for us. Then you see Krishna's love manifesting from those verses. Does it make sense? That is how every single verse of Krishna Katha in Bhagavatam is oozing with Krishna's love. That's what it's doing. And for example, when you come back to this verse now, let's come back to this verse now. All it is saying is how, like, there were nice beautiful trees, and the trees bringing from heaven, and there are the bumblebees. How is this Krishna Katha? What it is telling us is how these saints and their saintly kings used to live a sattvic life. I was in Chatswood, little Sankirtan story. I was in Chatswood festival yesterday, and we had a bookstore. And before we went, they were all trying to decorate with all these flags and festoons, and there were no, obviously, trees from the heavenly planets, or the drumas or the bumblebees. But the interesting thing, the most significant thing that you will notice, is that unlike these words, the decorations and celebrations, it's all plastic. There is no smell coming out of these flags. There is no beautiful aroma. There is no sattvic environment. It's all plastic. The cable ties are plastic. The flags are plastic. It's synthetic. It's plastic. It's completely screwing this planet and making this planet unsustainable. But here you have a king's palace where it is completely natural. So when you start a spiritual life, the basic platform you have to start a spiritual life is from a sattvic platform. If you have to fly out to India, say for example, sorry, I never checked your name, Mataji, what's your name? Raghupati Priya, that's very nice name. So Sita Mata. So very nice. So what happens is, say if you have to fly to India. So Edward wants to fly to New Zealand, for example. And you are? Maybe, who knows. There's a New Year a retreat coming in New Zealand. The registrations are still out. If you want, I can sponsor you. 11 days, beautiful. See, oh my God, Edward, you'll go nuts. I'll sponsor you if you like. Oh, you are? Okay. Next time, if you're interested, I can sponsor you. So, so if you say if you're going to India or New Zealand or anywhere, where is the, where do you go, where do you start from? Fantastic. Okay. Are you a good catcher? Fantastic. So, well caught. So, you go to the airport. You understand? So, that's the platform from where you shoot off from. So, in the same way, when you start a spiritual life, the platform that you got to shoot off from is the sattvic platform. That's our airport. Once you have a sattvic life, then that's where a spiritual life can start with, which is the reason the way all the devotees you're seeing are trying to live a sattvic life. That's the endeavor, because that's the airport where you got to shoot off from. So that's what these verses kind of telling us, is it's a very natural setting. It's bumblebees, it's, beautiful fragrant wines. It's wines in the sense the not the Hunter Valley wine. So you have these beautiful birds. It's all natural. You understand? But we live in a planet where it's all plastic, it's fossil fuels. We thought we just found the remedy for the fossil fuels, and then Elon Musk comes with this electric car. But I don't know if you figured out now, apparently that's worse than all the fossil fuels in the last 100 years. Because the carbon waste that goes out of that battery is practically like drinking cyanide. If you take a cup of cyanide and you drink that, the poison, it's those battery waste that we're going to push into this planet is much worse than all the carbon fuels that emanated in the last 50 years. So dukkha tadapi dukkha matadhyana brahman brahmami padame tavadasa yogam. Prahlad Maharaj says, the solutions that we are always trying to find become worse than the problem that we were originally trying to solve. So we thought we got electric cars, but that's worse. We're making it worse. And interestingly, okay, I keep digressing from the words, but I'll come back. It's like that pilot, we're going to have some turbulent winds on the way, but we'll make sure by 9 o'clock you'll reach Sydney, and then safe landing. So I was listening to Elon Musk. Anybody knows Elon Musk? Of course. I got your attention now. Did I? Yes, I got your attention now. So I was listening to Elon Musk's interview with Jordan Peterson. And he says something very interesting. What he says is, number one, the most interesting point he says is he wants to create, he's so much investing into this artificial intelligence because he wants to create an entity that can be millions and millions and millions of times smarter than man. humans and women. So no sexism. So men and women. My mother was very smart, so I find women very intelligent people as well. She practically ran the show, smoking guns. So he's talking about making much more smarter human machines than humans. And I was saying, no offense to Elon Musk lovers there, but this guy is mental. I know he knows how to make money. Okay, you make this smartest machine than the human beings, but I can switch it off. All I need is switch it off. What's going to do? How on the planet is that smarter than me? I don't know if you remember, there was Gary Kasparov, greatest chess player. So they prepared this computer that was smarter than Gary Kasparov. And eventually what happened, interesting, there was this UK scholar that they were telling that, oh, finally the Gary Kasparov was defeated by this computer. And this UK scholar, he asked a simple question. Who created this computer? And they told the name. Is that a human being? Yeah, he is. Get out of here. What do you mean smarter than, millions of times smarter than human beings, when the human being switches it off and turns it on? Doesn't make sense. Okay, this is a lot of AI in this phone, right? A lot of AI, right? YouTube, Facebooks, whatnot, right? Amazon, no, just joking. I'm not a shopaholic. So, but lots of AI going on, right? Here you go. Switch it off. What's the AI going to do to me? Nothing. I said, this guy, what is this guy talking about? He's supposed to be the smartest guy on the planet. He's talking about making smartest computers that are smarter than human beings, which will require a human being to switch on and switch off. He's nuts. So, what these kind of verses are telling us is a sattvic platform is where we start our spiritual journey. And then sattva will become Vishuddha sattva, and that's where you meet Krishna. On that platform, that's where you're meeting Radha and Krishna. And we're doing that every day, we just don't realize. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. How many holy names in the Mahamantra? I mean, it's repeated, but how many names, individual names? 3. Come on. That's what I say. That's what I say. We can't miss Hare as the main holy name also. That's where, if we have been chanting for 25-30 years, and we don't see we have been progressing, is because when I asked you how many individual holy names, most of you, no disrespect, it is expected, it is a journey, no disrespect, I'm not criticizing you, but the mind focuses quickly on Krishna and Rama. Hare is 8 times there when Rama and Krishna are only 4 times. Hare is more important than Rama and Krishna because love conquers the unconquerable. Hare is what gives you the Krishna prema. So next time when you're chanting Hare Krishna, please pay attention to the Hare more than or equivalent to Rama and Krishna. Because love conquers the unconquerable. Love helps you, the Radha Rani helps you, Radhika helps you to connect to that unconquerable Supreme Lord. So if you pay attention to Hare as much as you're paying attention to Rama and Krishna, and there's a reason why Hare is 8 times, when Rama is only 4 times and Krishna is only 4 times repeated. And then it makes 16. You understand? So that's the key thing that we are missing. The Shuddha becomes the Vishuddha when you're paying attention to the Hare. That's the energy. That's the divine goddess, fountainhead of all spiritual Shaktis. Sarva Lakshmi Maya Prokta Radhika Paradevata. Sarva Lakshmi Maya Prokta Radhika Paradevata. All the Lakshmi Shaktis are coming from Radhika. The Sammohana Tantra, and Durga Mata herself says, I am originally Radha Rani. I originally spring from Radha Rani, who is the internal energy of Krishna. So I am not non-different to Radha. Just like Shiva, after transformation, Krishna becomes Shiva. After transformation, the same internal Yogamaya becomes Bahiranga Maya. So the day you start, thanks Edwards, you gave me 3 numbers there. I wish I had another garland. Maybe you can, Mataji will share with you. Yeah. So Matajis are very kind. They're not like us. Men, we are all about ourselves. Just joking. I just mess around. So don't take me seriously. But just make sure you give me valuable prizes if I answer your questions well at the end. Okay? And someone has a credit card machine around here. Just joking. So, so Radhika, the Hare is actually connecting us, bringing us, popping us up to that Vishuddha platform. Does that make sense? Did I, yeah, make sense? So now I think time to read the purport, because I don't want you to go and ask for refunds. I'll pinch this up a little bit. In these words, the Amara Drumai, with trees brought from the heavenly planets, is very significant. The heavenly planets are known as Amara Loka, the planets where death is very much delayed. I already covered that. Because the people there live for 10,000 years according to the calculations of the demigods, in which our 6 months are equivalent to 1 day. The demigods live in the heavenly planets for months, years and 10,000s of years according to the demigods' times. And then again, after the results of their pious activities are exhausted, they fall down. Tetam bhukta amartalokam vishanti. Yeah, 19.21, 9.21. 19.21. 9.21 Bhagavad Gita. So, Tetam bhukta sargulokam vishanti. Evam trai dharma manuprapad. Anyway, don't worry about that. So, according to demigod time, and then again after the results of the pious activities are exhausted, they fall down to this planet. These are the statements that can be collected from Vedic literature. As the people, they live for 10,000 years, so also do the trees. Of course, here on this earth planet, there are many trees which live for 10,000 years. So what to speak of the trees on the heavenly planets? They must live for more than many 10,000 years. And sometimes, as practiced even now, some valuable trees are taken from one place to another. Simple, yeah. Trees, miners, the Indian miners you see from Australia, they came from India, you know that? Now they hate it because they become pests. And the camels were brought from Afghanistan. Now they hate them because there are millions and millions of them. They're just breeding out there in the desert. Rabbits. So it's a pest anyway. So it's very normal. I was going to talk about something else. So this is a natural setting. We were talking about the natural setting. I want to bring your attention to 2 very popular movies, just to see the difference of the natural settings. So you have one blockbuster movie, which is Lord of the Rings. It's all mystical, the Hobbit is natural, there's fruits, there's wines, they don't need any, the infrastructure, the fuel technologies, the power, the plastic, it's all natural world. It's all mystical, it's enchanting. You throw a mantra into them, and the ring becomes the Mordor, the Lord of the Rings, the Lord of Mordor. And you have this natural, the enchanting world, the charming world of mantras. And on the other hand, you have this blockbuster movie, which is Star Wars, which is all technological, the plastic, the fuels, the metal, the metallurgy and all that. So you have this one world of enchanting world, like this mantra, verse that we read. It's all enchanting, it's all brahmaras, it's all birds, it's all vines, it's all fruit-bearing trees and the ponds and the lakes, which is like a bit like Lord of the Rings. And on the other hand, you have this Star Wars, this metallurgy. Why did the world transform into what we are now? What happened? What really happened? Why did we transform into this extremely unsustainable technological world, where when we read these verses like this, it just sounds like some mythology? Why? What happened? Do you want to know some history, a little bit of history? So what happened was, in the medieval times, around maybe between 11th to the 15th centuries, the Catholicism turned into this Catholics, which became the majority of big religion of the world. It was all very mystical. It was all very fantastical world. You see Harry Potter. So it's fantastic. It's all myths and the trolls under the bridges and the magical Catholic world. And it became to the point that they were extremely opposed to the science. They become extremely opposed. And they completely financed the universities. They have full control of educational systems, full control of political systems, full control of military. And it became very, very sickening to this world. And the Vice Chancellor himself, the Chancellor himself from England, his name was Francis Bacon, Anybody heard of him? So he started he took upon this himself as a mission to bring this world out of these fantasies, these mythologies, the Santa Claus flying in the somewhere, and the deers are coming, the unicorns are, and the leprechauns and the unicorns, and this phantasmagoria. He took upon a mission on this himself, and he said, no, we're leaving all that behind. Facts, facts, facts. Empirical methodology. We want to start our own investigation. We want to explore this world with our senses. We want to find out how this functions ourselves. So he was in a very good position. He was a chancellor in a good seating position in England. And they had, coming from the appointed by the royal dynasty, they had full power. He said, enough with this Catholic world, enough with this mysticism, facts, facts, facts. Let's be it empirical. So when you have a push from these powerful people who are holding political, authoritative, monetary positions, and finally you can free yourself from this world that you can't get a hold of, and if all the witch hunting world and all the mythological world, and finally you feel like after the Galileo trial, scientists getting killed here and there, and witches are getting killed, and enough of this. The planet had seen enough of this bloodshed. And now finally there's some breathing space from people like Francis Bacon. Let's go and explore this world. Start the empirical method. When this was happening, this was around 17th century. At the same time, we have Protestants who said, boom, let's go against these Catholics, protest against all this. They are completely, what is it? Deviants, deviants from the Christ. Sola scriptura, scripture is everything. Solus fide, faith is everything. Don't talk to us about anything else other than the scripture. That's it. No mysticisms. So, when this bloodshed, 30 years of extreme bloodshed. When you read history, when you hear of these things, you think, oh my God, this is so worse. But I've heard historians say it was actually 10 times worse than actually what you read. The bloodshed was 10 times worse than what you read. The actual incidents were worse. So you have people like Francis Bacon, the Chancellor of the UK. He wants all the Catholic mysticism to be left behind. And the next decade, you have 3 decades, you have this wild battle between the Catholics and Protestants, and just bloodshed everywhere, just coming out of Crusaders. Guess what? To hell with the religion. To hell with Catholics, to hell with Protestants. Empiricism, science, methodology, scientific control methodology. Then it's not innocent, it's a pernicious innocence. Do you understand what these words mean? Pernicious? You understand pernicious? Pernicious is a very, oh, Hare Krishna. Pernicious means it is such a slow harm that you don't even notice it. Like if I put a frog in hot water, 50 degrees hot water, it dies. But if you put it in a 0 degree and then you just flame it and you eventually gradually raise the temperature, she doesn't realize she's dying. She doesn't even flap her legs. It's pernicious. You understand the word now? So it's a pernicious harm. It happens over the centuries, 5 centuries. When a pernicious harm happens over the 5 centuries, you don't understand. You think this is reality. The frog starts to think that hot 60 degrees temperature is the reality. But please let me assure you, let me allow you, this is reality. The natural world that Bhagavatam is speaking about, Dhruva Maharaj residence, this is natural. This is Sattvic platform tying up to the airport that I was talking in the beginning. Do you see? I didn't deviate from the topic. I brought you back. So I took my pills in the morning. So I connected back. Did you see the Sattvic platform? This is reality. Now you wonder, the banana trees, the flag and festoons with banana trees and mango trees that are explained in the Prithu Maharaj's times. That's a garbage. That's, flowers. Do you want to see everywhere flowers and rubbish and all that? Excuse me. Which is called the destination wedding in this planet? What is the destination wedding? Everybody knows? Most of you might know. What is it? Bali. That's the destination wedding. Have you seen their weddings? All they're using is big coconut leaves, and they decorate it so well, the whole world calls it a destination wedding now. It's all natural flowers, fragrant, like they call it, in India, what do you call that? Panadir or something. It's just natural from the flowers. Agur scent and all that. Sandalwood and agur. It's all natural scents. It's beautiful. Even now you go to Fiji and Hawaii. How do they welcome you out of the airport? Beautiful flower garlands. You understand? So if you go to Bali, the destination wedding, it's all natural settings. It's beautiful. They know how to recycle it perfectly. So we don't have to, as soon as we think about the banana trees and the earthen pots, we don't have to think of like Harappan civilization, like, some Egyptian people going, like Arabic harems or something. No. It can be done very sophisticatedly. We just need to know the art of it. We don't have to picture like some aborigines trying to hunt the kangaroos. No, it's not like that. It is a very sophisticated, can be very sophisticatedly done, all that natural things. We just need to know the skill. We've just lost the technology. We need to become our Indiana Jones. I told this previously. We need to become that Indiana Jones and investigate that technology back. It's simple as that. So this is not where we don't have to discard it saying, all right, banana plants, get out of here. Flags and festoons and agura and earthen pots, okay, that's supposed to be sophisticated. No, you just need to know how to do it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Am I getting there? So even now, there was a very popular restaurant, there's a chain of restaurant, Indian restaurant. It was called Last Train to Bombay. You know that? Okay. My friend used to be a manager in those restaurants. Two of my friends. It's all natural earthen pots. The pictures that you see are very natural environments in India. The monkeys jumping on the trains and trying to grab a banana, or stealing a cane from an old man. It's all natural pictures. And people used to queue out of that, like 50 meters out of the station, out of the restaurant. So natural, the sattvic platform, of course, what they were cooking may not be sattvic in the restaurant, but I'm saying natural world can be used in a very sophisticated technologically. We don't have to imagine, as soon as someone says natural world with banana leaves, we don't have to imagine like some, aborigines trying to blow and killing kangaroos and rabbits to roast them and eat. No, it's not like that. So I was giving you this polar division between, on one hand you have this Lord of the Rings, which is this natural enchanting world of mantras and natural hobbits. And you have the Star Wars, which is metallurgic, plastic, unsustainable technology, where you're aiming at the Death Star, from the Olympics. What was Darth Vader doing? Aiming at the Death Star and just exploding it to oblivion. There is a history to it. I was saying there's a history to it. Once this, the educational world got sick of these Catholics, and then the Protestant wars began, and they said, let's dump this whole thing. Let's just dump this whole religious thing, start our own new syllabus. Strategically and with full concerted effort, eliminated. God is eliminated. You cannot go in UTS and give a lecture how to prove how you can see God's, you can sense God's presence everywhere. But you can give a lecture by saying there is no God, and this is a world coming from nothing and going from nothing, and you'll receive an award. Isn't that a bit prejudicial? Why should be so biased here? Why should they insult your what's the word? Inference. Exactly. They can manipulate, they can control you. That's what's going on here. That's where these people come, the technological people that are coming and trying to control. So, let's come back to the words now. So, I'm supposed to read one more verse, apparently. So, let's move it there. Sorry, Mike. Sorry again. Next time I won't do this. I'll try to get my glasses. So, Vapyo Vaidurya Sopana Padmotpala Kumudvati Hamsa Karandava Kulair Jushtas Chakrahva Sarasai. There were emerald staircases which led to lakes full of various colored lotus flowers, and lilies and swans, karandavas, chakravakas, cranes, and similar other valuable birds were visible in those lakes. Again, you can see it's all natural setting. Even when you Sriman Rasarasa Arambi Vamshivatas Tatastita Karshan Venursvanar Gopi Gopinada Shri Suna. The Radha Krishna, the crest jewel couple, Radha Krishna, were sitting in this golden studded throne where Gopinada Shri Estuna, where this Sriman Rasarasam, where these bumblebees were singing glories and enchanted by Radharani's face that was blooming, and they say her smile is coming almost to is ear to ear. That's how beautiful her smile is. And it is said her ornaments are singing, even her ornaments, her body is chanting, her body becomes an art of movements, and even her ornaments and garlands are singing melodies for Krishna. And her parts of bodies are symbols of virtues and morals and skills and aesthetics. Now, all of a sudden you hear this, you're thinking, how are you going to make sense of all this? I'll give you, just going back onto your point, Mataji. What's your name? Sorry? Nera. Is it okay if I call you Nera? Nera. So you made an interesting point, because they can control us by this technology. What they're trying to do is really control us. I'll tell you something interesting. I was just listening to Richard Dawkins' interview this morning. I spent like 2 hours listening to, a little bit less than 2 hours, listening to Jordan Peterson and Elon Musk the other day. Today I was listening to Richard Dawkins. He says very interesting. He was talking to this agnostic person. He says, I don't particularly believe in God, but I don't mind if someone, if someone has that aptitude for developing themselves, characterically, historically, or psychologically, or physiologically, if that helps them, I don't have any problem. I'm not particularly a religionist. He comes back on this MC and falls on him like a ton of bricks. He doesn't like that neutral position either. He doesn't like that neutral position. He doesn't want you to be even on that neutral position as an agnostic. He says, okay, you won here some votes and all the 2,000 people are clapping. He doesn't like it. 2,000 people clapping at it, agnostic, I don't like it. No, I'm I feel very inconvenient about what he said. Very uncomfortable. And the anchor said, why? Because that's undermining our whole scientific enterprise. What does that enterprise mean? The funding. The funding stops. As soon as you say God, as soon as you say there is a creator, as soon as you say there is a purpose, someone has created it, and you are going to a purposeful, meaningful life, where are you going to get the funds for this enterprise that you want to run, empirical enterprise that you want to run? Money, money, money. It's so honey. In a rich man's world. You see what I'm saying? Money, money, money. In a rich man's world. So, the funding will stop. The enterprise stops. It undermines our enterprise. So we have to stop you from talking about anything transcendental, anything about soul, anything about Atma. We have to come on you, fall on you like a ton of bricks, control you and stop you and make you look so stupid that you will be so embarrassed to even talk on the street and with your friends anything like God. We'll make you feel so embarrassed, we'll make you look so stupid that when you're in your friend circle, you will not even utter the name of Krishna. I think that's a bit prejudicial, isn't it? It is a bit biased, isn't it? It is a bit prejudicial. Why should I take on myself a prerogative to prejudice a human testimony? We have practicing devotees here, fully practicing devotees. Some of you are part-time, that's no problem. But I'm still saying, you have fully, some of the Raghupati, Priya Devidasi Mataji, Manasvi Mataji, we have Ravi Segam Prabhu, we have Edward here, we had Sarah here, obviously, practicing devotees. Now you are having realizations every day, aren't you? When you're chanting Hare Krishna, when you hear Bhagavatam classes, you're having realizations, aren't you? Oh my God, 5 minutes. So you have, what prerogative do I have to prejudice you like that? Even say I'm an empirical scientist and a philosopher. What prejudice do I have to prejudice your human testimony? If you If you start throwing human testimonies out of window, you'll have to throw morals out of the window. You'll have to throw virtues out of the window. You have to throw love out of the window. You have to throw values out of the window. You have to throw justice out of the window. You have to throw equality out of the window. So are we prepared for it? No. We don't want to go that far. Do you see? It is a very, very pernicious innocence. I'll finish. I've got 5 minutes. I'll finish with the story yesterday. From Sankirtan story. Anybody like Sankirtan stories here? Sankirtan story? Books distributions and Sankirtan. Yeah. So this lady came to me, an Asian, very, very nice, innocent girl, just out of university, trying to do her undergraduate in Deloitte. Very, very interesting girl. And she said, she was a born yogi. She can automatically transport out of her body. She can see herself as a third person. And she asked me, did you ever have an experience like that? Point blank. You say you have these yoga posters here. I know exactly the time, the place, the day, and the location, I said to her. And she said, wow, finally I met someone who had an experience like me. I want to hear more. No, I don't. Don't need to hear my glories. This is not a session of my making my ego big. What are you looking for? You tell me, what are you looking for? It's not my ego blasting session. You tell me, what are you looking for? She said, the problem is, when I get pop out of my body, what happens is, and I can see myself as a third person, but that I fear and I return back. My ego fears, my mind fears, and I return back to this body. What is the solution? Can you tell me the solution? I said, I'll tell you this solution. I have 3 minutes. I said, I'll tell you the solution. The solution is that you have to tell your mind and your false ego, you have to whisper into your false ego and your mind that there are much better, much secured, much loving affections waiting for you out of this body. Because you're so conditioned and comfortable, your ego is fearing and reverting back to your body. But when you understand, if this material world, so-called, can be animated by a consciousness, why cannot a consciousness have its own reality and its own world and its own universe? Why is it so, what do they call, out of the world freakish? If a conscious world is animating, consciousness is animating this dull world, why cannot consciousness have its own autonomous, individual, complete ontological reality, complete reality of its own? Why can't it be? And tell your mind that you are returning back to your home. Whisper into your ears. Whisper into the ears of your mind. Whisper into your ears of your false ego that don't fear of leaving your shore, because when you have the courage of leaving your shore is when you find new oceans. A ship is not built to park in the harbor. Supposed to sail and find new shores. So tell your mind that there are much better things waiting for you. Tell your mind that there is a whole conscious world. And she said, what about the disruptions? I see all these aliens and bad elements. I said, I have a fantastic technique for you. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Next time you pop out of your body and you're going, keep this mantra in your heart. And let us, not for last thing, I'll finish it now. Don't die with this music still in your heart. Don't die with this music still in your heart. What do I mean by that? Share it before we go. Don't die with this mantra music still in your heart. Yare deko tare kaho Krishna Upadesh. Don't die with this music still in your heart. Make sure every single breath of yours has been utilized to make sure every other person knows this music. When you pop out of your body, you sail through. So that's what I said to that girl. When you pop out of your body next time, be brave, be courageous. And you'll sail through to your next destination. And make sure, can anybody repeat what did I say? Don't die with the music still in your heart. Share it with others. Do you know when we will die? So when is the time to share? Now. You gonna wait, Edward? Now. Yeah? Next year, if you're free on Christmas time for New Zealand retreat, please let me know. I'm a Grihastha, so I'll be very happy to sponsor you. No problem. Yeah. So anyway, so I can leave for some question time. Sorry, I went on a tandem there. Any questions? Hinduism is actually coined by an emperor called Babur and his military people. Because what happened was Babur was coming. Hinduism is not even a religion. It's just a geographical word. Because Persians cannot pronounce the word sa. They have to say ha. So the land behind the Sindhu river. And Babur was collecting all the soldiers when he's coming to India. So there were a lot of Persian soldiers, and eventually he also found some Indian soldiers. And the Persians had to say the people behind that Sindhu river. So they couldn't say sa, they had to say ha. So Sindhu became Sindhu river. The people outside over the Sindhu river. So the religion that was out there, it wasn't a religion. It was very autonomous, full secular freedom, like to choose Vedas or mantras or, yagnas or meditations or yogas or anything. It was a Vedic civilization. So they were called Aryans. So Hindu is not even a religion. It's a geographical name coined by the Muslim invaders. Because they couldn't say sa, they have to say ha, Hindu. Sindhu becomes Hindu. And Greeks, when they hear Hindu, Greeks can't say H. See, Honor becomes honor. They don't say honor. Have you noticed that? Honor. So Greeks don't say H, they have to say A. So Hindu becomes Indus, India. So India and Hindu, Sindhu rivers, they're all related. It's just a geographical name. And there was no organized religion in that area. It was a Vedic Aryan civilization, which was called Sanatana Dharma. It was Dharma. Nobody was tying you and controlling you and collecting numbers as a church or a organized religion. It never happened like that. Is that okay? Did I confuse you more? So, but you want to know how does that overlap with the rest of the history? Okay, good. How does that overlap into? So what happened was, obviously India was always getting invaded by the West. It wasn't the first time. Even when Krishna was here, planet, he got invaded by Kalayavana, who had to come from the Greek and Persian. And there was also 17 times Jarasandha was collecting all these warriors from the Western hemisphere, and they were coming through. So this is not the first time. India was always getting invaded. Trojan War, the queen tells how they went to India and brought all these beautiful garments, silk from India and all that. So they was always getting invaded by Westerns. So from most prominently in the recent history was Babur started like real organized military invasion on India. And then it goes to Akbar, Muhammad Ghazni, who invaded Mathura 17 times. So then comes the Mughals. So Muhammad Ghazni, the Somnath and all that. So we were always getting, but this was the big winner. This is what I want to say. The big winner throughout all these invasions, the grand prize, the big winner that eternally sustained was ours truly, Bhagavad Gita. That was the big winner of the East. That sustained through which Krishna always sends his messengers like Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parijagacharya. Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa. So Prabhupada ki jai. So he finds his messengers like him, and then he renews that culture as the cycle is going. So that now we are in that culture. So if we hold tight with this, and if we do it together with friendship and with harmony, we can enlighten this whole world. It is possible. All we need is one person. All we need is one true devotee. to entirely change this. Is that okay? Are you okay now? Okay. Anybody else? Yes. Yeah, our everyday bhajans that we are doing in the temple. It goes, the whole, our Vaishnava, you know how we do the Vaishnava pranams in the morning? That is Gopinatha, the five deities of Vrindavan are Gopinatha, Radha Govindaji, Shriman Rasarasarambi, then we have Radha Govindjis. So all the five, Radha Damodar, all the five deities comes after our pranams every day, Vishnu Pranam. So it says how they were jeweled, the two crest jewels of love, emblems of love, are seated in the diamond seat and receiving Ananda Chinmaya Rasa Pratibhavita Abhistabhirya Eva Nijarupataya Kalabhis Goloka Eva Nivasatya Kilatma Bhuta Govinda Mahadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajam. So it is part of our Vaishnava pranams. And even when we're doing homas, we do that also. When we're doing our yagnas, we do. Happy? Anybody else? You were raising your hand? Did I see? I seen you somewhere. Where did I see you? Where did we meet before? So rings a bell. Anyway, sorry. Anyway, Well, you need to find. We can train you on this. I'm happy to give you a little training how to handle our positions. And we have plenty of people like me who are distributing books, plenty of others like me in this temple who are doing books on the streets, who are talking to people practically 365 days. And we are on the roads. I'll give you an interesting story. I went to this house, Indian's house, and I knocked the door. I gave a whole pack of books. And she said, "Don't knock the next door." I said, "Why?" "They are Muslims." I said, "That's no problem." They went away. They so feared so much, they ran into their house and locked the doors. I went to the next door. I knocked the doors. I spoke to them. They took not one set. The Indian, so-called Indian Hindus, they took one set, right? The next door Muslims, they took two sets. Whole pack, 2 sets. For 2 grandchildren. You know what I did? I took a picture. I went back to that house. Bit cheeky. So I took a picture of them with the 2 sets of all the books I have. I went back and knocked the door. He opens the door. I showed the picture. He was like, "Huh? How did you do that?" So we don't need to, we can connect to people. We have to understand, we have to connect to people on the human level. We don't shove religion under their throat straight away. First you talk on a human level. First talk on a virtuous level, on a human level. First talk that we are a conscious entity. We are not. It doesn't look like you're entirely, absolutely your body. Start creating some suspicion. Lodge a doubt. And then let them speak. Eventually they'll take your book. Let them dante nidaya trunakam padayo nipatya krutva chakaka shatametam ambhavim. Hey sadhava. So he said, dante nidaya, keep your humbleness as a strength, grass in your feet and fall at their feet. Krutva chakaka shatametam ambhavim. Hey sadhava. Oh sadhu, you are the best of the people I have met. Please throw all that rubbish away and please read this Gita. So first you show respect. Create a little doubt in them. Let them speak. They'll take your book. I guarantee, 100%. Not all of them. There will be atheists or impersonalists. But any genuine person will eventually take a book. Is that okay? So where are my valuable prizes for answering the question? Just joking. So, yes. Oh, you got the right person. I've got the book right at the gate there. I can pass you. Searching for Vedic India is a very good book, and Quest for Justice is a very good book. I've got them both in my car. I can walk here and give it. Beautiful. Searching for Vedic India, English is a little upbeat. You'll have to keep a dictionary handy. But Quest for Justice, you'll cruise through. By the time you do, first I'll strongly recommend do the Quest for Justice first. He'll explain, Hridayanda Goswami, he'll explain all this history that I'm talking about. And then Searching for Vedic India, he takes you through all the technological faculties of the world. So both are a classic combination. I have a picture of a girl, just yesterday, high school girl. She was in the balcony reading. I said, hello. And then she said, okay, what do you want? I said, I showed the two books and boom, she took the book. I got a picture. She loved it so much when I showed the blurbs. So those two books are a good start. And then there's so much more, but save yourself the trouble. Those two will be enough. Is that okay? Okay, so Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavabhyo namah. I really want to thank you. Of course, practicing devotees are always, I'm always grateful. But you four boys, let's give them a clap. Thank you very much for being so attentive. Thank you very much for listening to my boring history. And Radharani, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Pay attention to Hare. There are 3 holy names, not 2. Yeah? Radharani, she is the one. Yeah? She is greater than Krishna. Okay, Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. Oh God. Thank you. I'll never take you for granted.